When's the last time you thought, I cannot wait to set up my estate planning documents? Exactly, never. No one wants to set up their estate planning documents, but you're all responsible adults. You have people that rely on you. You have people that you care about, which is why you're here to learn what you need to do to make your finances and estate easier for both yourself, but also all the people that you care about. More than half the people I'm talking to live or online here have yet to set up their estate documents, probably because it's just a confusing situation. I don't know what I need for documents. What should I be doing? What are these different terms? That's what we're going to go through today. Some basic estate planning information so that you can learn more about estate planning and make some great decisions on there. Please put ahead some questions that you have in the chat as we go along. All right, so here's our roadmap for today. I'm going to talk a little bit about why I'm here, why I focus on helping you make great retirement and estate planning decisions, talking specifically about the estate planning, although it's all integrated. You'll find that out in just a second. The estate planning basics, our goal is to help you avoid leaving a mess for your family, and knowing a bit about estate planning is going to help you out with that. There's some strategies you want to take make use of, and really those strategies are all about how do your retirements, your investment, your tax planning, your estate planning decisions, how do they all fit together? I've got a framework that I think will help you do that. And finally, I'd encourage you to take some action. Figure out how you can take control of your estate planning, integrate it with all your retirement and investment and tax planning, make life easier for you, make life easier for your kids and your loved ones, and hopefully even lower taxes in the process. Now, here's a little bit about what I do. If you haven't seen me speak before, my name's Jeremy Keil. Mentioned I go by Mr. Retirement. I've got a Mr. Retirement YouTube channel. You can learn all about things retirement there. But to tell you a bit about why I became a financial advisor and why me and my team focus solely on retirement planning decisions and things along those lines, like the estate planning, let's just, I'll give you a bit of background. And I know this might sound a little geeky, but when I was growing up, I loved playing with numbers and solving puzzles. It's like these logic puzzles. Here's an example. It's like Sally's taller than Billy. Fred is standing next to a girl. I love this. My daughters, I got my youngest daughter in 4th grade. She'll bring one of these home, show it to me, and I've got to like really bite my tongue, like hold back, like, okay, you figure it out. I just love doing it. I'm trying not to overbear her on that. But as I got older, my Aunt Barb told me, I graduated from college, and she said, you know what, you're good at math and you love helping people. You should be a financial advisor. And it turned out she was right. Every day since, I've loved being a financial advisor. And I was thinking about this a few years back. Why did this connection make sense? Well, really, it was like I was able to take my childhood love of puzzles and just connect it to the real world. Except that when I meet with you or my clients, I can solve your puzzle of how you could retire, how you could save money on taxes. The big payoff was not me having fun or getting a good grade. The big payoff is you making hundreds of thousands of dollars from extra Social Security or saving on estate taxes, all kinds of things that are out there. So that's why I get excited when I'm helping my clients create their retirement and estate plans overall. But it's not just about the money you can make or save. The situation when it comes to retirement planning, estate planning, a lot of times you only get one shot to get it right. And a lot of times these decisions you're making now are what's affecting you later on. When you retire, you're making decisions that affect the rest of your life, decisions you never faced before, and decisions that quite often, if there's two of you in a couple, it's most often affecting that 90-year-old widow. And oftentimes, especially with investments, these decisions are made earlier, 30 years earlier, by the now deceased husband. These are decisions that can never change. And that's why I do what I do. That's why I'm here. I want to help you make your estate planning, make your retirement planning a whole lot easier, hopefully save you some taxes in the meantime. Well, here's some basic estate planning. And when I'm on my first Zoom call talking to new clients, when somebody comes to my office, they often share with me that they don't have their estate planning set up. like the majority of people on the call. That might be you, but they don't want to avoid leaving, or they want to avoid. They don't want to leave a mess for their family. And they'll ask me, what documents do I need? I'd like to encourage you to back up a bit. If you're thinking, what are the documents? I'd ask you first, well, what are the goals? What are the goals of the estate planning documents? Quite often, those goals come down to three big goals. You want to avoid probate and guardianship. You want to be tax efficient, and you want to provide some sort of asset protection and control. I'm going to stop a second just to see what questions. We've got a lot of questions coming in. Go ahead, ask me all the questions. Yeah, we've got some interesting questions about trusts and social security number, how to see a recording on that. Yep, John's taking care of all those. I appreciate that. We're going to talk through a lot of these things about the trust, especially. Yeah, let's keep asking those questions in the comments. Well, the goals, these are the three goals: avoid probate and guardianship, be tax efficient, asset protection and control. Let's talk about each of those individually. The goal with avoiding probate and guardianship. Well, if you don't have a trust, you will go through probate. Here's the two big problems with probate. I don't know if problem is the right word. Let's call it concerns. Two big concerns people share with me on probate is that it's public and it's expensive, right? It costs money, maybe, and oftentimes more money than you would want to go through probate. Well, let me show you both of these. I'm in Wisconsin. We've got a lot of folks in Wisconsin and Illinois on the call watching in. So we're going to talk a little bit about each of those. But here's an example from Wisconsin. This is an estate document. This is a matter of public record, just pulled from the county courthouse. There's a case number on there. Absolutely anybody can go and pay a fee, $20, $50, whatever the court recording fee is, and get this document. If you go through probate, anyone can find out all about it. That's why you see all the headlines about which celebrity left how much to where and how much of a problem it was, because it's all public, all documents. You can just find that real easy. Just go to the county courthouse. Maybe there's more stuff online now, even. Well, and here's actually, and you see the two arrows, this particular estate, it has 281,000 in it. So less than $500,000. This is maybe an average American estate by the time they get there, but it's certainly not the average investor. Quite often you're seeing $500,000, $1 million or more when you're somebody working with a financial advisor. But this person's got 300,000. It's maybe about an average American. And the attorney fees for the probate were over $4,000. So you've got a public record of what's going on. You've got your kids perhaps taking months and months to settle the estate through probate. And it costs $4,000, most likely. And this, I had an attorney share this with me. She said she really saw that 4,000 number. She said, if that person had called me ahead of time, I could have done it for half, right? Quite often it's going to cost more after the fact than it would ahead of time. That's just planning. That's why you're on learning about basic estate planning and getting things done ahead of time. Well, another goal of estate planning is let's be tax efficient. And a lot of that tax efficiency has to do with when do you get money out to perhaps your kids or any other beneficiary. So I'm going to take a poll here, see what you're thinking. Where we're all at is, what is the most amount of money you can give away each year? That's a common question I get. I did a YouTube video about it. What is the most amount of money you can give away? 18,000 is today's annual exclusion. That's today, 2024. I'll show you what it'd be in 25 and just a little bit. But the two numbers I get the most are what I'm seeing right now too. Most people say, what's the most I can give away each year? 10,000, right? Well, 10,000, that was a number about 20 years ago, but it was a number that stayed there forever, which is why most people think of 10,000. Then I get another number because I think it bumped up right away to this number, 15,000. So a lot of times you have in your head that, okay, 10,000 is the maximum, or maybe it's 15,000. Well, right now, today in 2024, $18,000 is the annual exclusion amount. Although the two folks that got it correct, the answer is unlimited. What is the most amount of money you can give away each year? You can give away as much as you want each year. There's absolutely no limit on what you can give away, but you got to keep in mind some estate and tax situations. If you're trying to be tax efficient, you're probably worried about the estate and gift tax. A lot of people are asking me, what are the what's the tax on my estate? Well, thankfully, things changed a few years back where they updated this thing called a lifetime exemption. If you gift out, or upon your estate, upon your passing, if you gift out more than a certain dollar amount, it's not until then that you actually start paying taxes. So if you're giving away the 10,000, the 15,000, the 18,000, an unlimited amount of money, right? You might want to tell your kids 10,000 is the maximum. In reality, it's unlimited that you can give away. But if you are giving that away each year, and you're tracking then how much you give away, once you get to a certain level, that's above that level when you start paying some taxes. And that level for 2024 is 13.61 million, and 2025 is 13.99 million. So basically, let's call it 14 million. Until you give away over $14 million, there is no estate or gift tax on it. Of course, there's two. There's two of you if if you're in a couple, so that's double. So you can give away as much as you want. And it's not until you give away more than 14 or maybe 28 million before you start paying taxes on that. Although for the folks in Illinois, there is a state income tax. I'm sorry, here I am. I just said the wrong word there because that's what it's so confusing. There is a state estate tax in Illinois. That's at the $4 million level. When you have over $4 million, you can start paying estate taxes upon your passing. Where it gets really tricky with Illinois, and especially why you do want to have a lawyer, if this is your situation, help you draft some documents, is that in the world of estate planning right now federally, that 14 million and that 14 million, they call it portable. If you die first, your $14 million exemption kind of gets combined with your spouse's $14 million. So that's why it's a couple in the federal world, $28 million. But in Illinois, it's not portable. It's kind of use it or lose it. It's like, this is your money. This is your money. This is your $4 million exemption. That's your $4 million exemption. You can combine it together, but you've got to do some planning ahead of time. If you don't do the planning ahead of time, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxes that could have been avoided if you didn't plan ahead of time. So keep that in mind. Now, remember too, this is a lifetime exemption. This is keeping track of all the money you've gifted out over time, and it's just kind of added up. Add the money that you gift at the end of your life. That's 14 million federal, 28 million if there's two of you. Not too many people we run across are in that situation, but if that is you, definitely make sure that you're giving us a call, talking to your lawyer, because you might have things set up, and you would certainly want to pay a few $1,000s to an estate attorney to get things set up for you, as opposed to hundreds of thousands and more in the income taxes. Now let's talk about that annual exclusion. It was 10, became 15. That's why I like asking that question. Right now, it's exactly $18,000. But in 2025, it's $19,000. And per year, so once the new year starts, you can do different amounts. And that's an exclusion. That's just the government saying, don't bother telling us about it. And that's per person. So if there's two of you in the couple, and you're looking at your kid, and there's your kid's married, that's two of them, right? Each one of you could give money to each of your kid and their spouse, right? So that's 4 total exclusions times 18,000. That's $72,000. Here we're getting towards the end of the year. If you're feeling very generous for Christmas, and there's two of you, and you're looking at your kid, and they've got a spouse, right? That's two there. That's 72,000 you could give away now. And then turn around on January 1st, give away $76,000. What's that? 148,000 you can give away in the next month without filling out a tax form in any way. Now, you might want to tell your kids that 10,000 is a limit, but there you go. 148,000 if you're married, your kid's married, that you can give out in the next 3 weeks, and you don't have to tell anybody about it. There's no tax form at all with that. Now, you hear this and you think, wait a second, I was worried about the estate situation. Actually, I'm not, don't need to worry about it. That's what most people are. So I'm good to go. Well, there are income taxes due if you've never paid taxes yourself on your accounts. This is why it all goes together. It's not just about the estate taxes, it's about the income taxes, the retirement planning, your social security, all kinds of things go together. So you might look at it and say, I'm good to go, except you might have a traditional IRA, a traditional 401k, maybe some sort of annuity that is not part of an IRA. And what's so important about integrating your estate and retirement planning together is that with the changes in the Secure Act just a few years ago, there's no more stretch IRAs. So the big thing we were telling clients 5 years ago, 15 years ago, is if you do have money in the IRA, find out a way to, when your kids inherit it, your grandkids inherit it, stretch it out for as long as you can, 30 years, 40 years. So they're just taking the smallest amount out every single year. And that's how you get the most out of your IRA. Well, now at this point in time, right, if it's your kid getting the money, if it's your grandkid and they're above 21, it's a 10-year time frame. It's a much shorter time frame. It's not the 30, 40, 50 years they could have spread things out. That's why they call it a stretch IRA. 10 years is still a long time, but then they don't call that the stretch anymore, right? Because 10 years starts creeping up on you quicker. You don't get to stretch it out over your entire lifetime. That's maybe some negative news on the income tax side of thing, but here's some positive news is that there are capital gains, what's called a step up in cost basis rule. I was just sharing this with a client 2 weeks ago. He was saying he's got power of attorney for his dad. His dad bought a bunch of stock way back when. It's worth a certain amount more. And his concern was, how am I going to pay all these taxes when dad dies and I inherit all this money? Because there's a huge amount of gain on there. Well, here's the rules on it. Again, this is called a step up in cost basis. So basis is just a fancy term for a combo of what you paid and all the taxes you paid on the time, right? So perhaps you paid $50,000 for a stock. It's now worth $100,000. So if you sell it yourself, you have $50,000 taxable showing up on your tax return. But if it goes out to your beneficiaries, if it goes out to them, that's $0 taxable overall. The reason being is even though it's worth 100 and you paid 50, when you die, they call that the step up in cost basis. They say that the new cost basis is 100 grand. It's worth 100 grand. 100 minus 100 is $0. So $0 is taxable on there. So the idea of saving taxes, it's not just estate taxes, it's income taxes, capital gains, a lot of things to look at. Now, another piece of estate planning is your asset protection and the control. In a way, you're trying to control maybe how your beneficiaries might use the money, and then you're often trying to protect what's going on to your beneficiaries so that the money that goes to them doesn't affect other parts of their lives. Maybe this doesn't get sent out really quickly to other people that aren't part of your family, right? You're trying to maybe protect and control the money from your beneficiaries, right? If you're a beneficiary, your kid, unfortunately, your grandkid, if there's some poor life choices going on, if there's some poor money choices going on, you can add some controls so that the person with poor life choices and poor money choices doesn't have $1 million thrown into their lap, kind of adding some fuel to the fire in a bad situation. Or maybe things are doing okay for them. They know how to handle their money, but they've got some other situations going on. Maybe there's some sort of medical, business, or personal debt out there, right? Your kids owes 30 grand in medical debt and 100 grand in business debt, and they got 20 grand on the credit card, and then they inherit 150,000 for you. I'm not sure if your goal with your estate planning is, okay, this 150 grand just goes off to somebody else. It just pays off all these debts. You maybe would prefer that they pay off their debts, or they work through the different bankruptcy and different protection processes, the legal processes that are out there. Or maybe your kid's a doctor, or there's some sort of lawsuit, malpractice, or who knows, there's a car accident, there's some sort of lawsuit against them. And your goal often with your money is to get it to the kids, not to the person that's suing your kids. There might be a special needs situation. Your child, your grandchild has some sort of different abilities where they've got a special need, and often there's benefits that come in to help them out. Well, if all of a sudden extra money shows up in their pocket, they might lose all these different benefits and services. So having a special needs trust, having something like that is a big help to your beneficiaries. Or even maybe it's not a special needs situation, but well, if you're not quite to 18, if you're a minor, you don't have the legal or maybe even just ability in general to control and make the best choices with your money. So the reasons why you are looking at the estate planning situations are those three. But at the same time, you need some documents to make those happen. These are the documents that we help you take a look at, that we guide you through meeting with a estate attorney to make happen. The living revocable trust, the healthcare power of attorney, the financial power of attorney, the declaration of trust, the backup or pour over will, something called a marital agreement, and the healthcare directive living will. Those are the main basic estate planning documents. I'll leave that up there so you can write that down. All right, let's talk about that living revocable trust. And I want to tell you what it does and what it doesn't do. What the living revocable trust does is it tells your money where to go. If you decide that you've got one particular person that will become the trustee after your passing, this document says, here's the person who's the trustee. If you have 1, 2, 3, 50 beneficiaries, and this is where the money is going to end up going, the document says, here's exactly who gets the money, when they get the money. Perhaps they're not getting the money for 5 years, 10 years. Perhaps they have to be a certain age to get the money. The living revocable trust, living just means you're still alive. You're the one that set it up. Revocable means that you can change it anytime you want. And the trust is there to say, it's the trustee that I put in charge to help make all these things happen, but you're the one that decided all the things that would happen. And often that's just, okay, this is the beneficiary that gets the money. This is when they get the money, how they get the money. What the living revocable trust does not do, does not save you $1 of taxes at all. And the reason why is this is your money. You're in control of the money while you're living. It's just setting up that when you're gone and you cannot make these decisions anymore, how does your money get set aside? Which means it's the trust document that sends out all the money. It's not the probate court that records and sends out the money. That's why a living revocable trust is the way to avoid probate. Now, a lot of people think estate planning is just what happens when I'm gone. It's also what happens when you're still here, but maybe have some different situations going on. Perhaps you can't make some decisions on your own. That's where the healthcare power of attorney comes in, the financial power of attorney come in. The healthcare power of attorney, that's just saying, I would normally go to the doctor myself. I would normally make decisions about, do I have surgery? Do I take this medicine? What's the next steps for me? Except I just don't have that capacity right now for different reasons. Maybe there's a car accident. Maybe it's just your own mental capacity has declined to the point where you can't make that decision. This is the document where you decide ahead of time, who do I trust to help me make my medical decisions later on? Well, I can't make those medical decisions. And the financial power of attorney is the exact same thing, except it's for your finances. When it's to the point, I had a client a few years back, they were in a horrible car accident. The wife died. The husband was in a coma for 100 days. There's a lot of bills that show up when you're in a coma for 100 days. There's a lot of medical decisions that show up when you're in the hospital in a coma for 100 days. It was their healthcare power of attorney, where it was an individual with that document talking to the doctors to help decide what the best course of action was. And it was another individual with that document that could go to the bank, go to the financial advisor, and get money available so this person could have their bills paid and decisions made on there. You're deciding ahead of time who is the person that can make these decisions. You're deciding ahead of time what types of decisions they can do or maybe not do, right? These are important documents that really protect you because you're still around and still need the help in these areas. There's something called a declaration of trust. This declaration of trust is usually like 1 or 2 pages. All it is saying, I'm a person, I have created this trust, and this is the name of the trust, and these are the trustees. It doesn't say here's the 50 beneficiaries and how much money they're going to get, anything like that. The declaration of trust is great because when you want to add your trust as a beneficiary, when you want to make sure that your trustee is ready to go with the financial institutions once you pass away, you're letting them know ahead of time, but they don't need to know the details, right? You don't need to give them the whole 50-page trust. It's just here's the 2 pages that, yep, this is the name of the trust, the day I open it up, this is the trustee, um, and kind of get to file that with your financial institutions. Now, you might think a lot of times people ask, do I need a trust or do I need a will? Quite often the answer is both, right? Because if you have a trust, you almost always, any good attorney is going to have what's called a backup or a pour over will. Now, it's called a backup because, oh my goodness, what happened if while you were living, you set up all these different accounts and you put it in the name of the trust, you set up the beneficiaries in the name of the trust, but you forgot one. Okay, well, the will's here as a backup to say, here's what's going on. But it's also called a pour over will because quite often what happens is saying, oh my goodness, this money went to the will, went through the will. Let's just kick it on over to the trust. The point of the pour over will is saying, if something happened, something got mistakenly missed and it would have gone to probate, no, the beneficiary is my trust. So guess who makes all the decisions? It all goes into the trust and follows along the instructions that I gave them. Now, here's something that's more towards the Wisconsin area. If you're in Wisconsin, you quite often would set up what's called a marital property agreement. This marital agreement, because Wisconsin is a marital property state, is just saying, yep, all of our funds are together, held together, or maybe there are some things that are not held together. This is just really because the laws in Wisconsin are that it's a marital property state. If there's 2 of you, it's really just 1 of you in the manner of speaking financially there. Let's just make sure maybe there's money that was somehow individualized and we want it to be in our marital property, or we want to make sure it's not in the marital property. So it's something just saying, here's how we're looking at things together or separately. Here's another piece that's more towards the Illinois area. I was talking to an Illinois attorney, one that we recommend to our clients, and he likes the idea of a healthcare directive or a living will. He tells me that the living will, kind of saying, here's the 5 or 6 things I want to make sure happen or don't happen. It's a lot of times they call it the advanced directive or like letter to the physicians. Here's what I'm saying ahead of time I want to happen or not happen. He's telling me it's complementary with this healthcare power of attorney. The lawyer we refer our clients to in Wisconsin to put together the documents, she doesn't like this term as much, the healthcare directive living will. Oftentimes what happens in Wisconsin, this is why you need an attorney that's local to your state. In Wisconsin, sometimes the living will document and the healthcare power of attorney kind of contradict each other. Each state has their own kind of situation. So while there are all the different documents that are out there, there's a lot of nuances per state. That's quite often why when you move to a different state, you might be setting up some new estate planning on there. So my encouragement to you is, yes, we learn about the documents, but always think of what are the goals and walk into your financial advisor's office. Talk to your estate attorney about more about what are the goals and less about what are the individual documents you want. Instead of saying, I want these 5 documents, walk into their office and say, I want to avoid probate and guardianship, if that's important to you. I want to be tax efficient. And what does that mean with income taxes and so forth? I want this asset protection and control. And here's the personal parts of my life that apply to that. When you have a financial advisor, when you have an estate attorney that you trust, tell them what their goals are, and they'll do the great job of then saying, okay, this is our state, this is your situation, these are the things that you need to do to accomplish those goals. Now, if those are your goals and you want to make sure that you are integrating your retirement planning into your estate planning and together, uh, my associate John and I are here. I'm putting up on the screen this button. Go ahead and click that button. There it says, click here to schedule. When you click here, you'll see a page for a free estate strategy session where we'll answer the questions that you have, review what estate strategy that you have already, and maybe what your goals are. Of those 3 different goals that are out there, which ones are the most important to you? So go ahead, click that complimentary consultation, the schedule now button, and find that time that works best for you, so that we can see, okay, is there someone that we need to refer you out to? Is there a part of your financial situation that needs to be addressed first? No one wakes up wanting to just create an estate plan. You're doing this because you're a responsible person. You want to check off that estate list situation before you go on your next vacation. You want to make sure you're taking care of your family. You want to make sure that your money goes out to things that helps your family, maybe towards college education costs, not taxes, right? So go ahead, make sure that we can answer those questions about your estate strategy and how it all fits into your retirement planning, which is important. You're here learning about estate planning, and yet at the same time, this is just a piece of your overall retirement planning situation. When you are trying to make decisions on your taxes and your estate and your retirement, you need to integrate it all together, and need to integrate it all together in a way that makes sense and helps your decisions help you out later on down the road. So we put together a 5-step retirement plan. That plan, whether you're working with an advisor or on your own, this is how you can make sure that you are set up well in each of your different areas. The first step is to figure out, how much money do you need in retirement? Part of that is how much money might be left at the end of retirement. If you've got $1 left, or $1 million or $10 million, that's going to be a helpful thing when you're talking to your estate planning attorney about, how do I need to, and what do I need to do to set up and protect my family down the road? Just because you saved a lot into your retirement doesn't mean you don't have other things going on. And just because you stop working doesn't mean you stop making money. When you hit retirement, you want to maximize your monthly lifetime income after you figure out how much money might you need and when you're going to start this, when you're going to start your retirement. Try to figure out, how do you max your monthly lifetime income? That might be from your Social Security situation, might be from pension situations. You'd also like to keep more of your lifetime taxes. You want to keep more of your money by lowering your lifetime tax bill. A lot of times when you are working, you don't have as much flexibility when it comes to your tax situation. But when you are retired, you have a whole amount of tax flexibility. You have the ability to pay taxes in December or January. You have money in traditional accounts, Roth accounts, regular brokerage accounts, regular savings accounts. So it's 4 different types of accounts, 4 different types of tax situations. We learned earlier that you can give money ahead of time through gifts, or you can give money later on through your estate. You have choices on what you do with your money, when you do it, and making use of those choices, what helps you to lower your lifetime tax bill. That's more money for you, or maybe it's more money for the kids. And your retirement planning needs to coordinate with your investments. A lot of times when you're saving for the future, you're saving for your retirement, you've just got all this long-term type of money. You hit retirement, you need short-term money, you need long-term money, and really having a distinction between the both is really helpful. I've run into so many people, especially in 2020, 2022, where the stock market dropped by 30% in a few months, in a few weeks, really, in 2020. And their long-term money, they were counting on 1 month from then, 1 year from then, when they were going to retire. And they were concerned, oh my goodness, what if this money goes away? So they did the wrong thing. Instead of keeping some money invested for the future, they took all the money out, put it in cash. If you really plan ahead of time and say, I know how much money I need in the short term, I've got it set aside in short-term investments. I know how much money I need in the long run. I got it set aside in long run investments. I think you'll do better. But I'd like you to do that in the fourth position, right? Take a look at your income needs first. Take a look at maxing out your lifetime income next. Take a look at trying to lower your lifetime taxes, and then look at your investments. Make sure you're invested well in the right position for each of them. And then the fifth part, this estate planning, that's where it comes in, where it's not just about how much money is left over, but it's also about protecting the risks that might come into you, right? If you are the one that's in the hospital that isn't having the ability to make financial decisions, these documents are there to help protect you. But if at the end of time, you've done well with your retirement, there's money left over, these documents are there to help your family as well. A big reason why people are reaching out to us about their retirement planning or their estate planning is that they are concerned that their taxes are going up. They're concerned about their taxes going up because right now they're actually relatively low. This is the chart of the top tax rate in the US since World War II. They're actually relatively low right now, but also the US debt is continuing to grow. A lot of people tell me that the taxes are going up because they just have to go up. How else is America going to pay this debt? Another reason why taxes might be going up is, well, that's the law right now. This is the law between 2024 and 2026 tax rates. You can see the three specific, I put these three tax rates that we run into the most, the 12, the 22, and the 24% tax bracket. Those are all expected to go up by 3 or 4 percentage points, which doesn't sound like much. But if you go from 12% to 15%, that's a 25% increase in your taxes. Now, of course, the recent election might change the situation, but Congress has to do something. And Congress is not known for doing something at all, right? They're known for just twiddling their thumbs. Take a look here and make decisions on your estate planning, your retirement, your investments, your taxes, all together on what the reality is and what the situation might be. You want to be prepared in case of either decision on there. So I think your taxes are going to change over time. Your estate needs change over time. But when you look at your taxes, quite often your taxes change when your life changes. This is Aries. This is why you cannot just set aside, create your estate plan and put it on a shelf. Create your retirement plan, put it on your shelf. When your life changes, when you retire, your tax situation changes. Your estate needs might change. When you start Social Security, your tax situation changes. When you start these required minimum distributions, your retirement and tax situation changes. When you end up, if there's two of you right now heading into retirement, later on, there's likely to be one of you filing as a single individual, and your tax situation, your estate situation is going to change. Plan for these things ahead of time and keep an eye on when these things are changing. Most people think that taxes are going up, but they haven't done anything to get ahead of these changes. I'm going to give you a 3-step plan. Here's how you plan out your taxes ahead of time. The first step is review your tax return. Take a look at last year and make sure it's correct, but then also project out how things might change. When you project that out, quite often you can see, oh my goodness, my taxes look to be a higher rate here, a lower rate here. Well, when would you rather pay taxes? Would you rather pay taxes when they're high or when they're low? You'd rather pay taxes when you're low. But you won't know that unless you reviewed your tax return, you projected out how things are looking, and then you get this ability to take control and lower your lifetime tax bill. Curious where you're at. Does your financial advisor review your tax return every year? Majority of people say, no, my financial advisor does not review their tax return every year. I should ask the question, does your financial advisor review your estate plan every year? I think that they ought to help you inform your estate planning. Your financial advisor ought to review your estate plan every few years because things are changing every few years. Your tax return ought to be reviewed every single year because every single year your tax return is different. And my favorite answer, we almost always get one or two of these, is, well, why would they? Why would my financial advisor review my tax return? Why would my financial advisor review my estate plan? They're the ones that are coordinating, should be coordinating together how your investments fit with the rest of your life picture. And if they aren't reviewing these situations, especially your taxes, you pay taxes every single year, or they don't review your estate plan might say 4 different things, and all your investments have 4 different beneficiaries. Everything's different. You need to coordinate things together. I think if your advisor is not reviewing your tax return, has yet to review your estate plan, it might be time to search for a different advisor. But unfortunately, that's what's happening, is that most people are doing nothing. And I think doing nothing might hurt you. This is related to investments and tax planning. TIAA, big company, millions of people have accounts there. And they did a study because they've got this ability to look at everyone's accounts. And they saw that when you retire today, on average, you wait 4 years until you take money out from your retirement accounts. For me, I look at that, and it's just over 50% of Americans don't take out anything until required minimum distribution age. What that's telling me is that the average person is not creating their own plan. They're kind of following along with the government plan. The government plan of just wait a few years, wait for the market to grow, start taking out money and then paying taxes. They're not taking control of their retirement situation, their tax situation. And when you see that more than half of Americans, more than half the people even showing up here have yet to create an estate plan, a lot of times we're just leaving. There's a plan out there. It's called the government plan. And my encouragement to you is to create your own plan on that, where if doing nothing might hurt you, then, and you haven't done that estate plan yet, you haven't looked at your required minimum distributions yet. If your advisor is yet to file your or review your tax return and plan out what your taxes are looking at, then I'd say go ahead, click that button to have that complimentary consultation with myself or my associate John. We'll review your estate strategy, see how it might be able to protect you, see how it might be able to provide for your beneficiaries. How is it coordinated together so that you can go out there, enjoy your vacation without worry. Go out there, make sure that the money that you have set aside is doing well for your kids and your grandkids. Go ahead, click that button, sign up for the estate strategy session that you can learn how to pay less retirement and estate taxes, learn how to take control of your retirement estate. I'd like you to take action, make things work better for you. Thanks for coming out. Enjoy your day. We'll talk soon.